اوكي هات العصا
مكان
بيمين العصا سيء شكرا
على الشمال نفس
واحد
المكان.
يصلي هنا
لا
وضع نفسه مكان من الأسبوع الماضي.
نعم.
ليسجل.
نعم.
طيب هذا مهم.
اوكي.
لله يعني القدس ينقطع
في البداية نعم. نعم الآن إن شاء الله كويس.
تستطيع أن تنظر إلى المنبر منها.
نعم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. All praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We worship Him, we obey Him, we believe in Him, we seek trust and total competence in Him for all our Buddha on the earth, because everything is in His hands and He has power to do all things. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our deeds and the evil within ourselves, because we have evil deeds and then we have evil that comes from within. And we seek Allah's refuge against it and its bad consequences. They're both bad deeds and the inner badness that have bad consequences. Whosoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after we seek His forgiveness and He guides you to Islam, because some people think we found Islam, or that we stumbled upon something, or because of our intelligence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose you. Although you went through your channels and you went through the things that are part of your own unique story, it's Allah who chose to guide you and then conditioned you to accept the guidance. So So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides them to the straight path of His knowledge and His wisdom and His rahmah, because it's a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some scholars said, Akbar al-ni'mah wa Islam. The greatest gift is Islam. Kama anna akbar al-rahmah ad-dukhul al-jannah. As they said, the biggest mercy is to enter the Jannah. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the Jannah mean. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides and keeps him guided, because you can be guided from moment to moment. This is part of the whole idea of saying, sirat al-mustaqim. And every time we pray, we say that, which is an indication we're saying, oh Allah. And it's almost like we're commanding in the Arabic language, ihdina. That's saying, guide us, or give me some, or, show me the way. But if you know anything about your deen of Islam, if you know anything about the past prophets and messengers, although they have been defamed and dehumanized and humiliated in the Bible, the image, they were people who worshiped the Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala for knowledge and upon a ta'aleem of deen, magnifying Him and humbling themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you humble yourself to Allah, when you submit yourself to Allah, then you constantly beg Him. And that's why Allah said, Ihdina, guide us. It's a command form, but we're commanding Allah like we're begging and we're desperate. Not out of being arrogant, not out of being rude. And the reason we do that, because you need the guidance every moment. As some used to say, وَلَا تَكِلْنِي إِلَى نَفْسِي طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ, or Kemal Qal. And don't leave me to myself for the blink of an eye. SubhanAllah, that's very short. Because if He leaves us, we'll be astray. So this, you hear every Friday. For Allah guides none can lead them astray. For Allah leaves them to be left astray. Allah doesn't lead you astray, but He shows you the subr. He shows you the two ways. What's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. ثم بعد ذلك ماذا بارك الله فيكم. And then after that, what? Allah lets you choose. You choose a conscious decision to do right or wrong. This is the meaning of whoever Allah leaves them to themselves. فَلَمَّا زَاغُوا, when they deviate, أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُم, أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ مَاذَا قُلُوبَهُم, then Allah allowed their hearts to, because once your heart is involved, that's it. You can see something with the eye, touch something with the hand, and it might not mean that much to you. But when your heart is involved in that look, your heart is involved with that touch, your heart is involved with that statement, your heart is involved with that feeling, SubhanAllah. You gotta be right, or we'll regret it. May Allah forgive us and save us. Ameen. So this today is a serious issue we talk about. Sibagatullah. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ سِبَغًا وَنَحْنُ لَهُ عَابِدُونَ. Now, and what is better than the colors that Allah has chosen? Now, Sibagatullah. Because we know this whole thing about Kyrie is bigger than the dollar bill. It's bigger than some dead white man on the front of a piece of paper with all type of signs on the back of that bill. From a pyramid with one eye to in God we trust, my and the whole Kelly Mahdah, why it's clear big lies. Don't trust in any God. Maybe some from amongst them, but majority of them, to the point now you see 20-something years later, they're not pumping 9/11. Every year they used to pump it, pump it, pump it. And the Muslims bought into this idea that Osama bin Laden and the Muslims, people in America, security has never been so weak.
where you can go through TSA with anything, a penny in your pocket, a fingernail clipper. It's going to go off. They pat you down, they check you. They throw a bottle of water that's in the bottom of your carry-on bag, tucked inside some underwear, wrapped in 2 big pair of towels in the trash. You don't miss anything. هل يمكن هل يليق العقل السليم أن يفهم أن من الناس قد دخلوا يعني طيران مع سلاحات? Is it thinkable that people could have entered planes with weapons and nobody knew? They broke security? أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ, Allah mentioned the Quran. Don't you use your intellect? Gave it to you. Think about it. 20-something years later, I remember, Wallahi al-Azim, I was still in Yemen. I was in Yemen when it happened. We thought it was a movie. We were listening to it on the radio, shortwave, and like this. 20-something years later, you can get certain dollar bills, 5 or 20, whatever. The numbers might be wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. Fold them a certain way, and you see each building on fire. Sibaqatullah. Nine colors that Allah created. Min ahsanu min Allahi sibaqa. What's better than what Allah has created? All the colors and the people. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مَاذَا عَابِدُونَ. You got to worship Allah. So this issue of Kyrie is bigger than that dollar bill. It's bigger than he's making anti-Semitic, he's this, he's that. If you go to their own dictionary, Oxford, Merriam, and you're talking about a blind man, you have eyes. Go look and see what they define. You cannot be anti-Semitic without hating Arabs, people of color, Hebrew, all of those different people and their backgrounds. And it says nothing about white-skinned, European. It's not even in the definition. And see, what has happened is, to begin with, زُيِّنَ الَّذِينَ كَفْرُوا حَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَيَسْخَرُونَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. They have made this life appealing for the disbelievers. They did. Allah Himself made it for everybody, but they have a special hand in this. These disbelievers. They now don't have so much power. We're a small community. Jews don't have that much power. You gotta be kidding me. Who runs the industry? How do we get from people singing, we shall overcome? How do we get from people singing a stairway to heaven? Which they were saying something they thought was praiseworthy. Allah Musta'an. Really? Our people were singing that step, bad step, hoping that they could have a portion of the Jannah that Allah already promised for the believers. How do we get from that to heaven must be missing the angel? Well, ayadu billah, a song. You want to know about black culture and African American where? Here it is. Heaven must be missing a what? كيف يكون إذا كان الله سبحانه وتعالى ربنا سبحانه وتعالى عليم? How could this be when Alim means Allah knows everything? Alim ala wasn't fi'il. Whole bunch of things Allah He knows. All of the things Allah He knows. لا يخفى عليه شيء. Allah mentions in the Quran many times, nothing escapes Him. Heaven is missing the angel. How do we get from that to F the police? After Chuck D and them was talking about the steel, and I got my brothers behind me, and we going for the fence. How do we get from that to F the police? Who published those records of NWA? Niggas with an attitude. Who took their money and gave them crumbs? The same people that's responsible for their MBA. The same people that's responsible for the movies and all the other stuff that, wallah musta'an, we made them heroes. Since when you make people of entertainment and sport your heroes? And we look at them like they're scholars. If he says that he's a rapper, that's it. We take it. He dribbled the ball between his legs, boom, 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 around his back, that's it. He's got to be correct because he's sweet on the court. She's singing all kind of obscenities. She's pretty. Look at her boobs. Look at her dress. I want a hairdo like that. The Muslimah. Cut that off, man. Now you got the Muslims, not the homegrown, that we can say, all the excuses we say. Well, we were raised like that. Well, our society, our environment, that's how we came up. That's all we knew. We got a bunch of excuses. And it's true. We came up with that. We came up in houses with alcohol and drugs and pork and girls fighting boys. Can you imagine a girl, 11 years old, fighting somebody 18? Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy, right? Well, it's real. Sex is all over the place now in the schools, in the stairwell, in the classroom. Oral sex, anal sex, any sex you name it. Kids. Primary school. It was back in the 80s, but it wasn't as popular, and we didn't have all the internet where you can be taped and seen. But the margin is not the same. Go look at the stats. All of the schools in the inner city have that same problem. All of the schools in the inner city and every inner city back in the 80s didn't share that unique filth. Allah musta'an, gang violence, fighting, poverty, not having, being hungry. When you have to get up with the hopes to catch breakfast at school, because if you don't eat breakfast at school, you're hungry. You don't get no breakfast because there ain't no breakfast on the table. Not at the house. Lunch program, only for the poor. Like the works curriculum, the works books, the works buildings, all of that for the poor. And while the stereotype is the blacks were the most of the poor, you got a great portion that's white too. But what's the point? They put them in a different bracket when you talk about these issues that we're talking about with Kyrie. And when you prop people up, you control them, you make them, then all you have to do is pull the card from amongst them. Pull it out. Take it. You will destroy them. And this is what we're facing. And this is why Allah says, Sibatullah. Nah. Because it's a big problem now. They know Jews are black. This is nothing new. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he comes from the lineage of Ibrahim. Abuna. Ibrahim. Rather, all of the prophets and messages come from him. The only one that didn't come from the side of Bani Israel was our prophet, but he's from the bloodline. Look at the wisdom of Allah. So therefore, if you hate a real Jew, you got to hate our prophet too, because he's from that bloodline. You hate somebody because of his color, his skin, his hair. You got to hate our Nabi too, because he's from that bloodline. You got to hate Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam. Kullu ha'ulai nafsu shay. You got to whoa, this is deep. They said from Hebrew to Negro. SubhanAllah. What a mockery. And when you talk about all of those people that the Jews in Ethiopia, speaking Amharic and those languages, they won't even accept them to about they made apostation from Judaism with the Christianity, they can never come back. What a flimsy excuse. When you have a whole group of people might not even really be from the Jewish people, just like many of the Arabs. And we're talking because Allah said, وَجَعَلْنَا شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. We made you nations and tribes so you can know what time it is. You can know how to deal. You can work together. But when you don't know, and that's part of our problem, we don't know. As African Americans, but try being taken from your land. 400-something years ago, your ancestors, and you don't know past your grandfather. People say, Hadathana in the hadith. Ibnu. He might have like 10 fathers they mentioned. We lucky if we could get past our grandmother. If that. SubhanAllah. What a disconnect. And Allah mentions this in the Quran. He mentions Silat Rahim, but he also mentions Qati'at Rahim, the breaking, how horrible that is on a person's soul. Then they told you wasn't nothing. And they took your ancestors. And they beat them. And they beat him in front of his wife. Tied one leg on a rope with a horse on the right, another leg on a rope with a horse on the left, and made the horses run, smack him, so he can run to the right and to the left. What do you think the man's legs and testicles going to be stretched? He's screaming. Humiliation. Beat him in front of his wife. Some of them even had anal sex with the man in front of him to humiliate, show he ain't SHI, you know what. Rape your children, rape your wife. What do you think you're going to feel like? And then now you fast forward and you wonder why our women tell you you ain't SHIT. Black women and tell a black man who's hardworking, who take care of him, her, the family, you ain't SH, you ain't nothing. Where did they get that from? Did they get that from the motherland or from the white man? These same people jumping down on Kyrie. You wonder why people walking around high and pissing, sleeping over there. They're next to, they're worse than an animal. They're worse than animals. That's how they feel. Because these people created this evil thing after Allah said, Sibghatullah. And if we don't get a grip on it, stop making excuses. Even us inside the Muslim family. Oh, brother, there's no racism. We all brother. Well, ask that Air Force daughter. And I'm not talking about a poor guy who ain't nothing, who has a bad track record, who can't stay mad. I'm talking about a doctor. I'm talking about an engineer. Go ask him for his daughter. Go ask him to borrow $50,000 and you good for it. See if you get it. It's real. And if we don't understand how evil this is, the punishment is coming. Because this is Sibghatullah. This is who Allah created us. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ عَابِدُونَ. And we have to worship Allah. So let's get a grip on it. Let's stop being behind before it's too late. وَصَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَى نَبِينَا Muhammad. الحمد لله رب العالمين أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين والمتقين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد Allah musta'an. What we going to do? Because it ain't going nowhere. These people have some really evil hatred in their heart. Real evil hatred towards Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And Bab Awla, to hate Allah the most, firstly. What are we going to do? And we're fighting amongst one another over trivial, petty things. Laymen, professionals, and even these people. We're looking up to them. Sellouts. Sellouts. Jumping down on a man for what? For what? Because they want to be accepted. For what? Because maybe your self-esteem is low. For what? Because it feels good to jab somebody. For what? All of this is causing chaos in the land. And it's a distraction from the goal and the obligation that we should be working towards and keeping in front of us. That's being Abidullah, worshippers of Allah, serving Allah. It keeps us from remembering we were nothing at one time. We weren't even thought of. Allah mentioned. We're so bad, we're so much. It was a time when you even thought of. As Allah created the heavens and the earth first. وَمَا فِيهِنَّ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا. Now, everything in them, everything a part of them. Then the human being came. And guess what? As a mercy, and we have no excuse, He made all of those things He created in our dispense. There's nothing in this world. Although He created those things first, of the heavens and the worldly, where we live on earth, and it's nothing that has to do with creation except the human being is a part of it. That's how much Allah has honored us. But do we honor ourselves? Do we honor Allah? Do we honor our existence? Or are we that tainted? Or are we that poison? Or are we that ruined? But one thing for sure, two things for certain in conclusion. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran about deception, talbis, trickery, misleading. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. وَمَنْ يُبَدِّلْ نِعْمَةُ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Whoever trades in the blessing that Allah gave you, whoever is not grateful, who doesn't use it, Allah's punishment is severe. And that's part of what we're experiencing. This is a punishment on earth because we traded in the name of Allah. Sibaqatullah. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ سِبَغًا وَنَحْنُ لَهُ عَابِدُونَ. The colors that Allah created, all of the human beings, what's better than that? And to Him we worship. Give us a
barakallahu feek, shukran.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله